guys. I'm Nina.
I'm Jamie.
I'm Ethan.
And we are Bloody Essentials. Just want to thank all of our listeners for supporting the podcast. It really means a lot to us. And, just make sure you follow, leave a review. Little things like this can really help out the podcast a lot.
Thanks, guys.
We appreciate you.
Yeah. Also, shout out to Patreon members Rick and Swift. Guys, you are amazing. We love you so much. We love talking to you pretty much every day. We appreciate you going above and beyond to show your love for all of us. But we more importantly value your friendship. So thank you guys.
You guys rock.
Yeah. You guys are so awesome.
For sure. Also, upcoming appearances, we are going to be at Chicago Horror Film Festival May 16th through the 18th. It's only going to be 3 days now. Not sure why exactly, but we just want to share that update because Stephanie reached out. So make sure you update your calendars. 3 days. So that schedule is going to be intense. We're excited to be there all 3 days. So come say hello and come get a drink. It's going to be a good time.
Come get a couple drinks.
Many drinks, yeah.
Logan at least Theater. 3, at least.
At least 3.
That's right.
It's going to be at the Logan Theater here in Chicago, so it's a great time. Very nice bar. The staff are phenomenal. Flashback Weekend Chicago, August 1st through the 3rd. We're always there. It's a great time. It's one of my favorite cons ever, so you definitely don't want to miss that. It's going to be a great time. Robert Englund's going to be there. I don't think I need to say any more, but I mean, I should have stopped at we're going to be there because that's what really matters.
Facts.
Come on.
Now, before we get into tonight's episode, we promised our listeners, guys, if you've been listening to us for a while, you know that we promised you guys a little mini review from Ethan because he had never seen The Crow up until like a few weeks ago. I'm talking the OG Crow, right? And so he made a commitment to our listeners that he was going to watch the newest one first with what's his face?
Bill Skarsgård.
Bill Skarsgård. I wanted to call him Brendan.
That would be wrong, but okay.
That's really wrong.
Yep.
I can only think of the original Crow. I'm sorry. And he was going to watch the new Bill Skarsgård version of The Crow and then watch the original with an unbiased perspective and let us know which one was better. So, Ethan.
Yes, ma'am.
Let us know what you thought of these movies.
Okay. I did watch the remake first.
Yes.
Okay.
I like Bill Skarsgård.
I do too.
I think he did a very good job.
Okay.
I liked the movie. As a matter of fact, I will own it when it comes out on Blu-ray.
Okay.
Didn't think it was the best thing since sliced bread. Did not care for the female lead.
Okay.
I didn't think their chemistry together was good. That was just me. But the movie in and of itself, I thought was pretty good.
Okay.
A lot of blood, a lot of action. Yeah. I enjoyed it.
Okay.
I haven't seen it.
Me either.
Okay. Yeah, it's not bad.
Okay.
Compared to the OG. Now, I watched the OG the next night because I was like, okay, I want to go in. I wanted to go into the remake unbiased, not having seen it, no nostalgia, no,
sure.
You know what I mean? The OJ blows it out of the freaking water. Why the hell did I wait so long to watch this movie?
Yes.
This movie is phenomenal. Phenomenal. Everything was great in it. It had that old gritty 80s, 90s feel that I absolutely loved. The action was great. The soundtrack was freaking phenomenal.
So good.
Yeah.
Loved it. Definitely blows the remake all to hell.
Okay.
So,
Brandon Lee, you liked his performance?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I loved everybody's performance in that.
Yeah.
That was great. And I did not know, and I don't know how I did not know. I'm sitting there watching it, and I was like, as he was going upstairs the first time, and I was like, I know that voice. Oh my God, that's Tony Todd.
Yeah.
Like, you gotta be kidding me. I'm like, why have I slept on this movie?
Oh, I'm so glad you loved it.
Oh, me too.
Awesome. That makes me so happy.
Yes.
You're
me
welcome.
too. I feel like it's hard not to enjoy and love the original. Like I don't think I know anybody. I mean, they're out there, but I don't think I know anybody personally who is not a fan of the original.
No.
If you are, I mean, let us know and let us know why. But
And then
I
we'll tell you
haven't met any yet.
So,
Yeah. We'll tell you why you're wrong.
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
But we want to know. Explain yourself.
Yes.
Definitely explain yourself because we're gonna need answers. But yeah,
Mhm.
it's a great movie. I'm very proud that it is from my birth year. So
Aw.
love that movie.
Yeah.
All right.
I would have to I would have to rank that probably up in my top 5 movies ever.
Wow.
Oh, yay.
That's amazing. Aw. Awesome. Well, we're so glad you liked it. You're welcome.
Thank you. Yes, I appreciate it. I was a little scared because I've taken some of your other suggestions. We won't talk about
We can't
those,
all be the crow.
right?
Yeah, it's a pretty high bar, man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, we
I've
won't
got
talk-
some other ones, but we'll wait. We'll give it some time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, nothing's gonna compare. So
Let it breathe.
Let
yeah.
it breathe. Yeah.
Okay.
No, that's a great one. Let's get into tonight's episode. So we decided we don't share our viewpoints here, but we decided what the hell we're gonna do a movie for Easter, and we're not gonna go the traditional route. We went with Donnie Darko because
And
why
why?
not talk about another imaginary bunny?
Because it's got a 6-foot rabbit.
It's a 6-foot fucking rabbit, man.
Right.
If that doesn't put you into the Easter spirit, I mean, what will?
Oh, yeah. It's got everything. It's got resurrection. It's got, fun things, miracles happening left and right, man.
I don't know if I consider them miracles, but okay.
Well, missing not getting an engine to land on you the first time. That's kind of miraculous.
Yeah.
So, first things first, I want to ask each of you, when was the first time you saw this movie?
If one of you two bitches say, was it in the theater?
Was it?
Probably. No. I think it was actually in the theater, but
Shut the fuck up, then.
yeah.
Oh.
That's amazing. I would be so jealous. I would love to see this one in theaters.
I would too. I mean, I saw this one in high school. This was a pretty big one for me at the time. Like, I saw it and it kind of blew my mind, where I was like, oh my God, wow, this is a movie. Like, this is a really cool movie. So yeah, definitely saw it in like high school with some friends. Not in the theater, but I wish I would have seen it in the theater.
Yeah. I saw it by myself in high school. It was one of those movies that like everybody was like, oh, you have to see it at some point. It's so good. I finally did. And I was like, oh, that really is amazing. Like, it blew my fucking mind. But I never wanted to revisit it because I was afraid that like if I revisited it, it wouldn't hold up.
Ah.
Yeah. So I was like, I've seen it, just set it off to the side. Maybe it, won't age as well. And I'm really glad that we did this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My
Me
son
too.
loves this movie.
Does he?
And
Yeah, this is one of Joshua's favorite movies.
I feel like this is
Aw.
Josh.
Right. It's definitely one of his favorite movies.
I feel like if
Aw.
Josh could, he would definitely say some shit like Donnie Darko does to his teachers.
There's one difference.
Your son has some respect for people.
Exactly. And
Yeah,
he would
no.
pick up his teeth.
Yeah.
So,
No, for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just love a snarky attitude. It's so fun.
Oh, it is.
I'm fine with snarky attitudes as long as they ain't coming out of my 16-year-old. So
I think we can all relate to that.
Yeah.
mm-mm.
Yeah. There were some moments I was thinking of you, Ethan, during this movie. I'm like, ooh.
Like
Man.
it would have been the end of the movie when the mother came in and he was like, "Get out."
Yeah, that's a part. Yeah.
And then he shut the bitch.
My
Yeah.
parents would have taken the door off and been like, "Excuse me." They literally would have ripped it off the hinges
Right.
in their effort to get inside again.
Right. And then I
Yeah.
would have used the door to beat him.
Yeah.
I would have definitely
Definitely would have had a
beating.
beating.
Yeah.
Definitely would have had a beating. Yeah.
And before anybody gets their panties in a bunch and decides to call DCFS or, children's services, I don't beat my kid. So,
For clarity.
just
Not
for
that it's
clarity.
anybody's business.
Right.
Yeah. That's the main thing to take away. It's not anybody's.
But also for clarity, if he calls his mother a bitch, he'll pick his teeth up. So
Yeah, as he should.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, we haven't even started plot points. Go ahead.
It's all right. Let's go. Let's do it.
Let's do this.
All right. So we start out, Donnie is laying in the middle of the road in his pajamas and he's, looking disheveled. And I love how he just like smirks to himself and like rides away on his bike.
Yeah.
And, we see him, he's riding home and he's living in this typical suburban neighborhood, right?
Yeah.
And
I love this scene, the way it looks. Like, it's so cool. I like in the beginning where it kind of like, you get this like cool, like big look over what he's seeing. And of course we get the great song, we get Never Tear Us Apart playing, and it's like kind of perfect.
The soundtrack in this movie, the soundtrack is phenomenal.
So good.
Yeah. And as he gets home, I loved how his mom was reading Stephen King. Like, that was fun. And then I've always laughed at this part, the note on the fridge saying, "Where is Donnie?"
Yeah.
I jotted that down too. I love that. And it's like almost a little bit of like a little peek into what's going to come up later in the movie, because we see that little whiteboard again.
Yes,
we see it many times. And every single time we see it, I make a mental note of what was on it.
Same.
And I love the dysfunctional family dinner. Is how I wrote it in my notes. You have a very interesting dynamic here. You've got Elizabeth, Donnie's older sister, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Samantha, who's the younger sister, and then Rose is the mom. And I didn't catch the dad's name, so I just called him Dad. But
I just called him Dad too.
Yeah, but very interesting. You have Elizabeth played by. Oh my God,
Maggie
Gyllenhaal, and then Jake is playing Donnie. So you have a real life brother sister combo in this movie, which is great.
Yeah.
Which is, I think it like adds to like their dynamic. Obviously they're both really, really talented actors too, but I think the fact that they're really brother and sister is kind of special for this movie and for that role. Yeah.
You disagree?
Yes.
You don't think they have chemistry in this?
No, I think they have chemistry in this. I just don't think she's a good actress.
Oh, I love her in Dark Knight.
I love her. Yeah.
I think she's a great actress.
Yeah. Isn't she in Riding in Cars with Boys too?
Like, we can agree to disagree. I just don't think
I haven't seen her in that many movies, but I mean...
Well, the ones I've seen her in, I should say. I haven't seen Riding in Cars with Boys. But the ones I have seen her in, I'm just not been a huge fan of her.
I mean...
she's not horrible.
Yeah.
He's a great actor, I think.
He is. He's very good.
Yeah, everything he's in that I've seen him in, I think he's phenomenal in. And maybe I'm comparing the two, and I'm like, she's not as good as him.
Yeah.
I could be doing that.
Or maybe you just haven't seen the good movies with her.
That's a possibility.
Yeah. I mean, I thought she was great in Dark Knight. I don't think she was as good as the original lady that was in the Batman movies before she took over. But I thought she did really good for that movie. And I've seen some other things, but they blend together a little bit. So, but I think she's good.
Well, and I will say, I love her in this. Like, I love that character because she's like, she's definitely like the cool kind of like sarcastic older sister. I mean, their whole conversation cracks me up so much every single time this scene.
This scene is amazing. This felt like a legit family where they're like arguing over politics and all this and how, oh, you're misinformed on this. No, you're misinformed on that and everything. And they're just like yapping at each other. And Donnie is snapping at a sister. And it's so good.
Like, it's so awesome because it's like, they're talking about like her husband, is your husband gonna, and whatever. And Donnie's like, oh, are you still going to be working at Yarn Barn? Because I feel like that's not, great for raising a kid or whatever. And she's like, fuck ass. And it's like, suck a fuck. How does one suck a fuck?
Yes. It's so good. It's so good.
Oh, it's so funny. It makes me laugh every time. And then the younger daughter is just like,
is repeating it. Yeah. What's a fuck ass? Yeah. So good. Oh my God. And then we cut to Donnie. He's sleepwalking. He's hearing a voice that we find out later is Frank's. And he's like slowly walking through the house. He sees his dad passed out in the armchair or whatever. And then he steps outside and he sees Frank, the bunny, and just 6 foot tall bunny, right? Very deranged looking face. And he basically is like giving him a countdown, a timer, and he's like, this is when the world will end, right?
Yeah.
Correct.
And then all of a sudden, everything starts to shake, and you assume at first it might be an earthquake because we don't really know where they live.
Right.
Donnie's dad wakes up, his sister just arrived home, and it turns out that a plane engine fell on the house, like specifically in Donnie's room.
Yeah, like if Donnie had been in there and hadn't been sleepwalking, he would have been totally crushed and killed.
Yes, foreshadowing. Yes. Meanwhile, it's the next day. Donnie is found on a golf course. He has the countdown that Frank gave him written on his arm in Sharpie, which I thought was fun.
Yes.
Because I'm like, where did he get the Sharpie? Because clearly he didn't go back into the house for it. He must have had it on him or something.
He seems like the kind of guy who just has like a Sharpie in his pocket.
Yeah.
You never know when he might need one. So
for sure. But he's heading back home, and there's a police barricade, and he like forces his way through, and there's all these government agents there, and they're trying to get his parents to sign this paperwork, basically excusing them from any fault or damages type thing. And then they arrange for the family to stay at a hotel, right?
And it's all kind of a mystery, nobody's really able to explain to them like what happened, how this incident occurred, so they're really like kind of in the dark about how this whole thing went down.
They were like, we don't know what plane it fell off of, we don't know anything, like it fell, and we're so sorry.
We'll remove it and we'll get you a nice hotel room and it'll be cool. Just don't say anything, okay?
Just don't say anything. And they're like, how can we say anything if we don't know what happened? Yeah, that was great. I don't remember when I think it was the first time they're waiting outside for the bus, but I love the part where he's waiting outside with his younger sister, and his friends offer him cigarettes or whatever, and he looks to his younger sister, Samantha, and he's like, what will happen if you tell mom about this? And she's like, you're gonna like do whatever. And he's like, you're goddamn right, I will. And I'm like,
he's like, Ariel's gonna go in the disposal or whatever.
Yes, that's what it was. Yeah, her favorite toy or whatever. And it's like, oh, so good.
I have to say, I love the bus, the waiting for the bus scenes. We have, I think her name is Chiquita, or something like that. And so the boys, his friends are like stupid high school boys. So they're always being mean to her and picking on her. But there's a lot of humor that happens in these like waiting for the bus scenes. And like a lot happens in those little moments. I also have to take a back a minute when they're when they're in the hotel. I really like the moment where the dad is talking to the mom and basically is like, says, Donnie dodged his bullet. Like he's telling a story about someone else they know, who didn't. And he's like, oh, it could have been Donnie, but Donnie dodged his bullet.
Yeah. It was really hard to do plot points for this movie because every little thing means something.
Yeah,
in this
I know.
movie. It's like there's not a dull moment in this movie. So it's like literally writing down everything. And so thank you for filling in the gaps when I missed something.
Oh no, you're good. I was like, even when I was like writing down notes for this, I'm like, oh wow, everything, there's context
everything. Yeah. Everything. Yeah. And so we find out the kids, they go to a private school, and we meet Drew Barrymore, who plays Karen, the English teacher, the most inappropriate, sexually like charged English teacher I've ever seen on screen. Yeah, so she's fun. And I forgot she was in this, so I squealed a little bit. And
I forgot too, honestly. It's been a minute since I've seen it. Yeah.
Yeah, I adore her. And then we meet Gretchen. She's the new girl. It's Gretchen, right?
Yeah, Gretchen.
Okay, just making sure. And she's like, where do I sit? And Karen, the English teacher, is just like, sit next to the boy you think's the cutest. And of course, she sits next to Donnie because he's fucking adorable.
I would pick Donnie as well. He's the guy that I would sit next to. Not only is he cute, there's something just about him, you know, where you're like, oh, he is kind of weird and different. There's like, he's an artist type. There's something about that guy. Don't know what it is yet exactly, but it's him.
Turns out he's crazier than a shithouse rat, but go ahead.
Yeah.
He's crazy,
like,
but
"Ooh,
he's got this shy, kind of cute little, you know, mischievous look about him. Yeah. Very unassuming look. And so we flash forward. Mr. Darko, the dad, is driving Donnie to his therapist appointment. And while they're driving, his dad almost hits old lady Sparrow. And she whispers something in Donnie's ear, and we don't know what is said just yet.
Yeah, and Grandma Death ends up being, as they call her, ends up being pretty important, you know, and this is her routine. She always goes out to the mailbox and looks inside and kind of does that day in and day out, and there's never any mail.
Yeah, never any mail, nothing ever comes, but she's just out there waiting every single day.
Yeah.
And everybody just assumes she's crazy.
Yeah.
So we see Donnie's at his therapist's office, and he's telling her about Frank and how he was told the world was coming to an end. And when she asks him, you know, do you think the world's coming to an end? He just blows her off like, oh, no, of course not. Definitely not. But yes. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's still kind of early in his interactions with Frank, so he's still kind of like figuring things out too, I feel like. But yeah, he's just like, nah, that's stupid. Yeah,
definitely. And also, like, I feel like this is pretty common with teenagers anyways. Like, I mean, who knows how long that he's been seeing the therapist anyways, but like, if you're new to therapy, you're not going to tell them as much right away. And especially if they're an adult and you're a teenager, you're just very distrustful of adults, I feel like, in general.
Right.
Totally. As a teenager, you are not. You're like, no.
Totally not. Yeah, we're good.
I'm old and I'm still just trustful of most
adults, so. Of course, but that's for different reasons.
It's because I've been around and know they're assholes. So
that's right. Exactly. Lived experience.
Now. Yeah.
All right. Donnie's back in school. And it's apparently gym class. It took me like half the movie to figure out this is gym class. I was like, health teacher, maybe? But no, he's in gym class, and every gym class they watch a video with Patrick Swayze.
And I love them so much. Like, the video cracks me up every single time, especially the boy who's just like, I'm not afraid anymore. And they're so good, so perfect. It perfectly like encapsulates those types of videos from that era. And it's Patrick Swayze.
Yeah. Again, totally forgot he was in this movie, so I got really excited when I saw him, and I was like, "Oh shit!" And
it's Patrick.
Yeah, and I love Patrick Swayze so much. He keeps coming up in movies I've been watching lately, and it's funny. But he plays. I've always loved him. He's great.
Me too.
Yeah, he plays Jim Cunningham in this movie. He's a life coach type thing before that was a thing.
Yeah.
So he's basically trying to teach people to control their fear, and basically is like saying there's only two motives behind people's intentions. It's either love or fear. So, yeah.
Yeah. So get in line, got to put yourself somewhere in one of those two boxes, and that's it.
Exactly. Foreshadowing. This entire movie would be a great lesson on foreshadowing. Yeah. And Donnie, he's continuing to hallucinate. And Frank this time is convincing him to grab an axe, and that's all you see, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
This is such a great next day scene. Again, the kids are waiting for the bus. They're like, the bus is late. It's been 25 minutes. And I love the moment where they're talking about, isn't there a rule? Like, if the bus doesn't show up within a certain, and there is, just so you guys know, because I remember that was a thing. That was a thing when I was going to school, because we talked about that many times, waiting for the bus, because it was always late, but it was never late enough. So.
So it's like, it almost feels like a lie.
Like an urban legend.
Yes, I know, where they're like, oh, if it shows up late, you don't have to go. But then like, we're all waiting there like, come on, just 10 more minutes, just 10 more minutes, and it
Yeah.
never actually happens.
Yeah, it's literally like an urban legend. It's so funny that came up, and I was like, oh my god, transported back to middle school days.
That is just some adult trickery. You know what I mean?
It is. It's like an unspoken rule. It's so funny. They find out that the school is actually closed. The school has a busted water main, and the school is like flooded. And they cut, and you see that an axe is in like the school mascot outside the school,
which is the mongrel, and he's like a big bulldog, which I think is fun. And I have to say, I love like all the like, you get a little bit of chatter from different like kids, you know, about like what happened. And there's a moment where these little girls are like, they said the office was filled with urine and feces. And someone's like, what's feces? And it's like baby mice. And it's like, aw.
So good.
It's funny.
And next to the mascot statue, there's in graffiti, it says they made me do it or whatever. Yeah. So yeah, the rumor spread around about school. Donnie heads over to like the next bus stop over to tell the kids there that school is closed for the day. He sees Gretchen. She's kind of being picked on by the kids there, the school bullies, basically, right?
Yeah,
including Seth Rogen. I forgot that.
Oh my god!
I was like, it's his first role, by the way. It's his first like, it's his debut. But I totally forgot that Seth Rogen is in it. And yeah, and these boys are just such like jerks. You know, they're very like predatory in this scene. They almost like surround her. I think Seth Green even says like, "I like your boobs," you know, something like that. And so yeah, they like surround her and are being all like, ugh.
It's very creepy. It's gross. Yeah. But yeah, when I saw Seth Rogen, I was like, really?
It's like, oh my god, that's Seth Rogen.
When Seth Rogen said, "I like your boobs," Josh went, "She don't have boobs," and I was like, I'm like, still your father, but you're right.
Yeah. Well, what do you expect?
You're right.
But you know, Donnie, he's really nice, and he offers to walk her home. And during this cute little conversation that they have, he asks her to be his girlfriend, but he says it like the typical 90s, early 2000s way. Hey, you want to go with me?
She's like, go where? And it's like, no, that's how we say it, you know, is like, you want to go with me. And we also like learn the tragic, you know, story of her parents where, you know, her dad stabbed her mom, I think.
Yeah.
And so, you know, they really connect. I mean, they share some deep stuff. And she says something like, she says, "You're weird." And he kind of is apologetic about it. And she said, "No, it's a compliment." And I'm like, oh,
yeah,
I love that.
That was really
the weirdo romantic in me is like, oh, that's so cute. And I love her.
Yeah, definitely. And they kind of have a moment where they share like traumas. And I think that Donnie has more respect for her after that.
Totally.
Yeah. Donnie's back at his therapist's office. He gets hypnotized for the first time.
Yeah.
Oh my god. And he's talking about different things, and he's not really answering any of her questions. I thought he was faking it at first, and he clearly wasn't after a bit, but
yeah.
But there's a part where she's like,
in the movie, you know.
Yes.
But I wrote it down. I have to mention it. There's a part where she's like, "Do you think about your family?" And he's like, "I don't think about fucking my family." That's gross.
The humor in this movie is so good. I just have to like stop and say that now. And I will say, rewatching it this time hit me in different ways than it did when I was younger. And that's probably just because of where I'm at in life, or like where I've been in life since I first watched it, and since subsequent watches. Because I'll tell you, when we get to them, there were some scenes that actually like made me tear up and like got me a little emotional too. But like the humor in this movie is so good. It's dark, but like this movie is hilarious.
Yeah, this movie is great. I love the dark humor. It's very 90s, early 2000s humor for sure.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, it's definitely emotional for sure. Oh my god.
Yeah, there's some moments.
There's some moments I teared up as well. Yeah. Hi, everybody. Just wanted to thank all of you guys for listening and supporting the podcast. If you haven't already, please follow us, like us, leave us a review. Little things like this can really help the podcast out so much. Also, if you want to hear your name mentioned in our episodes at the beginning, and receive fun little goodies from the entire Bloody Essentials team, you can join our Patreon. It's 100% like no commitment. All the proceeds go back into the podcast. It helps us upgrade our recording equipment, our editing software, all those good things. And it also helps pay for our travel expenses with our upcoming appearances. So that can add up really fast, but we're looking to hopefully expand to other conventions and, going to other states to see spooky attractions. So funds like that will help significantly. Also, I don't know if you guys know, but before we can actually like start receiving funds through YouTube and things like that, as horror creators, we need at least 500 followers on YouTube. So if you aren't already following us, but you listen to us and you really like our content, please like us, subscribe. It really helps out so much, and it allows us to keep doing what we're doing. So we love bringing horror to you each week, whether it's content creators, our thoughts on a film. So we really want to keep doing this for as long as possible. And money is unfortunately a big way to stay on top of that. So like I said, all of your support really means a lot, and you get fun little goodies from all of us. We got Bloody Essentials merch. We got horror goodies that we've been saving for you guys, whether it's stickers, horror collectibles, like I'm talking like shirts from your favorite horror companies, Fright Rags, all those good places. And then, of course, we've got some NECA figures and all those kinds of things. So if you want to receive fun horror goodies from your Bloody Essentials crew, join our Patreon. It's going to be a really good time. We also have a Discord channel and unedited episodes before they air. So that's always exciting. And we're hoping to be doing movie parties really soon. So stay tuned for that. And yeah, just thank you guys so much for listening, and we'll get back to the show now. The police are at the school. They are asking each student to provide handwriting samples, and of course they're suspicious of Donnie because, well, it was Donnie.
Right.
Yeah, so they're like, we think it was you because it was you.
It was him. Yeah. Yeah. And we've got the Smurf talk stuff.
Yes.
It cracks me up so much just because the whole conversation they're having, and he jumps in with like, no, that's not accurate. Smurfette was actually made by Gargamel, and that wouldn't happen. They're asexual.
Yeah, they don't even have parts. Yeah. It's so good. But Grandma Death, she shows up in the road again, and it's basically just them talking about her. And we have an emergency PTA meeting because Kitty Farmer, the gym teacher, she's got some stuff to stir in her little pot. Okay.
Ooh, she is clutching her pearls. She really, really is.
Very much so. I love this actress, by the way. I've seen her in so many things. She's such a great character actress.
Me too. I just saw her. I just started that show, The Bondsman, with Kevin Bacon.
Ooh, good
and
show.
right away I saw her, and I'm like, oh my god, I just saw her in Donnie Darko. Like, she's in everything, and she's good at playing this type of character. She's totally unlikable. She's definitely a negative figure in this movie, but she's so good at it. Like, delicious kind of performance.
Oh yeah, for sure. She's basically saying that the book that Drew Barrymore's character is teaching needs to be banned because it specifically influenced the student that vandalized the school. Which, yeah, kind of.
Well, you're not wrong, ma'am.
You're not wrong that it did subconsciously, but like, we don't ban books.
No.
Yeah.
No. It sets a pretty bad precedent when you start doing that. But yes, it definitely mirrored pretty much what happened.
Yeah, for sure. And when you've got weird fucking 6-foot tall bunny rabbits showing up in your dreams, I'm sure the things that you read in your English class are going to surface too.
Yeah, and I do have to say too, though, real quick, I love his mom, like Rose. She is such a cool lady because she kind of stands up to Kitty and says, like, we're the PTA, we're not banning
do
books.
That, yeah.
Like, what? Come on, what is this really about? Like, we don't ban books.
Yeah, and I'm glad that they stood up to her.
Me too.
Yeah. Meanwhile, during all of that, we see Donnie in the bathroom, and this is such a cool scene how they did this. He sees Frank in the bathroom, and Frank is just telling him, I can do anything I want, and you can too, and just kind of like trying to like bring him in a little bit, And Donnie asks why Frank had him flood the school, and he doesn't really answer him.
Yeah.
All right. Flash forward to Donnie being in school again. He writes a poem about Frank, which I really like.
Yeah. And I love when she asks, who's Frank? And he's like, a 6-foot bunny or a 6 foot tall rabbit, and he says it so like straight.
Yeah.
It's hilarious.
As a matter of fact, this is who it is. So
yeah, and it's like, what? You don't have a 6-foot bunny rabbit that tells you to do things?
Yeah, that was such a good moment. Oh.
Yeah.
And then we're back in the gym with Kitty. Had another Patrick Swayze video she had to let everybody watch. And then they have this great assignment where they have to basically read out a scenario and determine if they're acting out of fear or love. And then Donnie makes a great point saying, these aren't the only two emotions. You can't just base a scenario off of these two emotions, which is a fair assessment. And then Kitty gets mad because he's being argumentative. And so
he's like, there's a full spectrum of emotions here, okay? Like, it's not just black and white, like this or that. And it's like, hey, any teacher should be applauding this, because here's like a young person like actually thinking about like these kind of concepts in a deep, real way. And instead, what does she do? Like oppresses him and like is mad at him.
Not listening. Yeah.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so he's got a meeting with the principal.
One of the best lines of the movie. Oh my gosh.
We can't even say it, but if you know, you know. But yeah, the parents are like, they think the behavior is related to the plane incident. He's obviously shook up, a little traumatized and everything. And they just brush it off, basically. The dad's laughing about what was said and everything, and they just blow it off. And then we get a little caption that says 20 days left. And we see Donnie, he's trying to find out more about what's going on with Frank and everything. And he goes to his science teacher and he kind of like is like, tell me about time travel. Like, is it possible? Like, is it scientifically possible? And he gives him this book that was written by Grandma Death.
And it's like, what? It's like, we knew she was important. We knew there was some reason why we kept coming back to this old lady. That nobody was like, hey, maybe she needs help because she's out. Anyway, I digress on that. But yes, she wrote the book.
She definitely needed help and a brush.
She had bigger fish to fry, Ethan. Yeah, it was.
She was looking for her mail, okay?
Yeah.
Yes.
It's just the Postal Service, man, they're just not reliable.
Not at all.
No. And so Donnie, he's talking to his therapist about this book, and we finally find out what Grandma Death whispered in his ear, and it was every living thing dies alone. And they kind of talk about like his fear of death and everything. And I think that's a really fascinating moment. Right.
So this is a moment that hit me in the feels. It's just because his emotions in it are so like real, like, the pain in him. Cause he basically is talking about, she's like, do you feel alone kind of thing? And he was like, I'd like to think I'm not, but there's just not been any proof. And he's like, I just don't even debate it with myself anymore. And he says, I don't want to be alone. And just like the look in his eyes, his face, like, yeah, you really feel it. And I was like, oh, geez, that hit me in the feels a little bit right there.
Yeah. I think everybody grapples with that at some point, especially teenagers.
Of course.
Yeah. That's probably where you feel the most alone is when you're a teenager, because you feel like nobody understands you. So, yeah.
Yeah.
And his delivery, of course, is just phenomenal in every scene in this movie. It's so good.
No, that scene, he just wrecks me in that moment. It's just his face and his eyes and
Oh, it's heartbreaking. It really is. Donnie, he's watching TV with his dad, and he sees these invisible, like I called it a force, like coming out of people, and he sees as they like follow this path of the force, like it's like this blurriness that comes out of them. And he follows his, and it leads him to his parents' bedroom, and he finds a gun in his parents' closet. And can we talk briefly for a moment, because this pissed me off so bad? Why is a gun on the floor in your closet in a shoebox?
Agreed.
I know. That should be up high. It should be locked in a place where your kids can't accidentally grab. I mean, Sam is young, like their daughter. I think that's her name, Samantha.
Yeah, Sam.
You know, she's pretty young. I mean, even their other kids, you know.
You have a kid that has mental instability right now.
Yeah,
He literally goes to a therapist. I'm like, this conversation literally came up recently because we were talking about gun safety and everything with some friends. And I was like, I knew my dad had a gun. I didn't know where it was. Like, I didn't even know what he had until I was 17. Literally never saw the thing once. And we moved a lot when I was a kid. Never saw it. Had no clue what he had at all. Like, it's not hard.
Yeah.
It makes me so angry.
It shouldn't be in reach like that on the floor. Like,
No,
Yeah.
it should be locked up. I have it. Well, you guys know I have an arsenal.
Yeah.
I have a ton of guns, but
Yeah.
they're all locked up. They're all in their safes. They're all accessible. I could have one out in 4 seconds if I need it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's all everything is locked up. So.
Yeah, I've been around your house. They're not just out in the open for people to
No.
find. Yeah.
No,
They're not just on the.
It's usually on my hip, but
Well,
at least
one of them. Yeah.
Yeah. But you don't have just like shoe boxes lying around your house
Yeah.
where it's like open that up and oh, there's a gun inside.
No.
Whoops. Yeah.
No.
Crazy. Gun safety is serious.
It is. It is. That's a whole different show. But
Yeah, I know.
When Josh was young, I taught him about gun safety, and
Yeah.
I said these are Dad's
Yeah.
guns. You don't touch them. They're locked up.
Yep.
So
I remember that was a
Totally.
conversation in my house
Yep.
too. Yeah.
Yep.
Anyways. All right. So Donnie and his sister are carving pumpkins, and I love how Donnie carved Frank's face into the pumpkin. That was such a
great.
clever little thing.
And his sister's just like, that's scary.
He's
Yeah,
like,
I know.
"You think?"
You think? Well, it's Halloween. Like, who
Right.
cares?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Donnie's parents, they decide that they're going to meet with his therapist. And I love the moment where they're talking about Donnie, but Donnie's in the bathroom again. He sees Frank, and like, it's like the Matrix thing where you like
Mhm.
point at something in the air and it like bubbles or whatever. And he's like using the knife and he's trying to stab the barrier between him and Frank. And it's just so good because like the look in his eyes, so intense.
Oh, and it's just so cool. Like, and it really
Yeah.
gives you as the audience, like, you know, that sense of like, you know, they're connected, but there's like definitely a boundary or a separation between them. And it's like, I don't know exactly how it all fits into the time travel yet, but there's something there that
Yeah.
hasn't been unlocked yet or whatever it might be.
Yeah.
Right. And it's just funny how Donnie's parents and his therapist are just talking about him during all of this. It's good.
Yeah. And I like when the therapist is asking, like, have you heard about Frank? Do you know about Frank? And, you know, she said, they're like, no. And it's like a 6-foot rabbit, you know, who talks to him. And the mom is just kind of like, I don't recall.
Right?
Yeah.
But that scene breaks me too, because the mom, you know, the therapist is basically saying, well, you know, he could be like paranoid schizophrenic, yada, yada.
Yep.
He's having daytime hallucinations. I think we should increase his meds and continue the hypnotherapy. And mom is just trying her best to like kind of hold it together and say,
Yeah.
whatever we can do to make him like feel better, to be in less, you know, distress. Like, okay, if that's what we have to do, you know, and just her internal struggle, you see it all over her
Yeah.
face, and she sold me on it. I believed her.
Oh,
Me too.
it's a heartbreaking scene. Yeah.
Yeah, I felt it.
Yeah. And then we are at the school again, and we meet Patrick Swayze in the flesh.
I love the scene.
Yeah, me too. Jim Cunningham is hosting a seminar at the school, and Donnie confronts him, and he asks a question, and he basically calls him out on his bullshit, literally, and says, you know, that he's the Antichrist. And it's like, that's the ultimate, like, you know.
Yeah, because he's like, you're a prisoner of fear, and blah blah blah. And he's like, yeah, I'm afraid. I'm really afraid, but you are the Antichrist.
Yeah, you're a piece of shit that's using people for their money. and you're
he totally
manipulating
takes
people.
him down.
Yeah.
It was like, woo! It was like a pretty
Yeah.
cool moment.
Yeah, it was great. It's great. Gretchen kind of follows after Donnie and she asks him, you know, are you okay? And this is where he finally like tells somebody really about what's going on. And he fills her in on Grandma Death and her book and how the book describes certain things that Donnie has been seeing.
Yeah.
So they decide they're going to go to Grandma Death's house and they're just looking all over, kind of not really finding much. But then they see her and she's looking out at them from her balcony and they kind of get freaked out and run away.
Yeah. Which is
I
a
could
cool
understand
scene.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is cool. It's creepy. Old people are creepy.
Yeah.
Yeah. When they're as decrepit as her, they're a little creepy. Gretchen and Donnie, they kiss, finally. And then they go to see Evil Dead, which was fun.
Yes.
Yeah. But then Gretchen falls asleep. So it's like my liking towards Gretchen just went out the window.
I was like, how do you fall asleep in Evil Dead? The movie is so freaking good. I have to say too, when they kiss, that also hit me in the feels because it was just after the boys like were making fun of her mom and like what happened.
Yeah.
And they run out of class. Obviously she's upset and he's basically like, I'm so sorry. And she just like grabs him and kisses him. And I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, and it's like a really sweet and tender moment between them. But yeah, how do you fall asleep during Evil Dead?
Yeah. Yeah.
And she did just find out that her boyfriend like is talking to a big invisible bunny. So I mean, I don't know. It's maybe a little bit draining, but still, Evil Dead, come on.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's no one else in the theater besides them two, which is weird because it's close to Halloween or whatever. But anyways, I digress.
And it's the Evil Dead.
And it's Evil Dead. But whatever. And then Frank shows up and I love this exchange because Donnie's like, why do you wear that stupid bunny suit? And Frank is like, why do you wear that stupid man suit?
I love that.
So
that
good.
moment.
So good. And Donnie's like, take it off. And we see Frank in a human form. And we've never seen this kid before, right? No clue who he is. But he's got an eye that's been shot out and it's like bleeding and everything. And Frank tells him to watch the movie screen and it basically shows him a portal and it's like burn it to the ground.
Yep.
And so we see Donnie, he gets up, he leaves the theater. Gretchen's still asleep during this whole thing, doesn't fucking wake up, which is the most unrealistic part of this movie.
I mean, you'd think that even just like him, like shifting, you know, like getting up the theater seat, going like, you know, collapse, like going back up. You think that even like the motion at least would make her like, whoa.
It's not even that. It's the screaming in the theater at movie theater level sound. I'm like, that would wake me up. Like, I don't get it, but whatever. She's probably tired.
Yeah, this girl could sleep through anything apparently, but
clearly, yeah. So Donnie ends up burning down Jim Cunningham's house. And it turns out, well, hang on. Donnie returns to the theater and Gretchen's still asleep. And then he kind of like taps, she wakes up a little bit and she's like, oh, how long have I been asleep? And he's like, the whole movie basically. And just, has no clue, right?
This town does not appreciate Evil Dead. Just want to say it.
Right.
This town needs a formal education on Evil Dead, but
they do.
Correct.
It's not what this movie's about.
The next day, we see a news outlet reporting that Jim Cunningham, his house burned down, but he was running a child porn dungeon in his basement. Mm-hmm. So not only is he an asshole, he's a freak and a pedophile.
Yeah, so he's not just like feeding like this like self-help, like this really shallow self-help bullshit to young people. Yeah. He's also like taking advantage of young people and committing crimes and such.
Yeah.
He's not a good guy. And you don't usually see Patrick Swayze as a bad guy. So it's like, ooh.
It's nice. Yeah, it is nice to see.
Well, I mean, I guess there's Point Break. There's some, but...
But he's not really, he's kind of like the anti-hero.
Cool.
He's not, he's cool. He's Patrick Swayze. He's not really a bad guy.
Exactly.
He's just paying for him, kind of. He's just paying to go surfing.
Exactly.
It doesn't hurt anybody. Okay, so Jim Cunningham is arrested because of all that. And then Karen, Drew Barrymore, she gets fired because of her inappropriate teaching methods. And it's basically because of Kitty.
Yeah.
Yeah. So cut to Kitty. She is asking Rose, Donnie's mom, to chaperone some of the girls, including Samantha, on a school trip. Since Kitty's unable to go, she's got to testify for Jim Cunningham because she's convinced he's just a saint and he's been, set up, and this is all just a scam that's going to blow over.
Yeah. Another one of the greatest lines of the movie and first of all, their dance was awesome. It's notorious and it's so fun. But anyway, she says, "I doubt your commitment to sparkle motion."
Oh my God. Yeah. I laughed really hard during that.
I always do. Amazing delivery. Like I said, she's so delicious in that role. She's so perfect and unlikable, but like has hilarious lines. It's so funny.
Yeah. Donnie, he writes a letter to Grandmother Death. We don't really know what it says, but he writes it for her. And like at this point, I'm like, okay, so she's been waiting for your letter type thing.
Yep. It's like all starting. You're like, okay, I'm
slowly,
starting to see how this time travel thing is working a little bit.
A little, not really, but yes. Yeah. Donnie finds out that Karen was fired. He's pissed. And then he asks her, he's like, why is cellar door written on the chalkboard? And she's like, it's the most beautiful combination of words in the English language. It's been like scientifically proven. I could see that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think cellar is like an interest, like sound wise, I get it, but like it's ironic that it is something so basic that describes something that's dark and like not pretty. But I'm like, okay.
I read that it was something that Tolkien wrote actually in an essay. I couldn't find much info about it, but I did read that it came from something Tolkien was writing about in some kind of essay about linguistics or whatever.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I love him. He was a genius.
Yeah.
Donnie's at his therapist's office again. He gets hypnotized, and he reveals to his therapist that he burned down Jim Cunningham's house and vandalized the school. And he was like, I have the power to build a time machine. And he says, Frank told me to do it. He's told me to do all these things. Or if he didn't do it, Donnie would be left alone, basically.
Yeah, and he's like, and Frank says time's up, like running out of time. And that's another really heartbreaking moment with his therapist because, she even like hugs him, I think, at that moment. And yeah.
And he basically is like, Frank is going to kill, the sky's going to open up, like the world is going to end. And And
why did she not have him committed?
Yeah.
I understand the doctor-patient confidentiality.
Oh, it ends there. As soon as you find out he committed a crime.
Hurting someone or trying to hurt yourself, doctor's supposed to do something.
Yeah, because that's it. That's just it. He's a danger to himself, big time. Like with everything that he's doing. Arson is not safe. You know what I mean? None of the stuff he's. Yeah, arson bad. Everything he's done.
We don't condone that.
No.
So
unless it's a pedophile's house.
Yes.
Then still bad. Just make sure they're in it. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah. Do your research before you commit your arson. No, arson bad. Arson
bad.
But he's a danger to himself. He's a danger to others. Even though Jim is a pedophile, if he would have been in that house, he would have probably died. And he would have never gone to trial if that happened. So
he would have become Freddy Krueger. Yeah, the whole
thing. He would. And then you'd have another Freddy Krueger on your hands.
And Patrick Swayze as Freddy Krueger. That would be interesting.
Oh wow!
If he would have been in that house, well. Dead pedophiles don't reoffend, so.
It's true.
That's a fact.
True.
That's a fact.
But he could have hurt other people, and he could have hurt himself. And, it's like at that point, she should step in and do something.
Yeah.
And we also get a big reveal here, too, is that she says the pills that he's been taking, he can stop taking them because they were placebos.
Mm-hmm. They were placebos the whole time. Yeah, I was just about to say that.
So that's kind of like, what was her whole end game with that? You know what I mean?
I think to see if he was faking it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That was my guess, because like he
Kind of,
just has
yeah.
that vibe about him that he could fake things if he wanted to. He's a class A manipulator for sure.
True.
Yeah. All right, we get another caption. It says 1 day remains, so suspense is building. It's revealed that Elizabeth, she got into Harvard. So they're all excited about that. And Donnie's like, let's throw a party, you know, mom and dad are away. And it's like, where the fuck is dad? They never say where dad is.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, is he at like a conference or something? I don't know what the dad does for a living. I don't recall, or I don't know if it comes up. So I'm like, I don't know where, but he's not there.
He's not there, but yeah.
Yeah.
But parents are gone. The little sister's out of the house. It's just Elizabeth and Donnie. So it's like, let's celebrate. This is a really big deal, right? And it is, naturally.
Yeah,
And
and
she's
the
like-
parents are away. I mean, party. It's
Yeah.
not a high school movie, and you know, until there's a party when the parents are away.
It's not a
That
high
gets
school
really
movie.
big.
It's not a high school movie until they're like, okay, we'll have a party, but nothing big. And then it's a big fucking party.
The whole school is there.
The whole
Yeah.
school's there, which is the most unrealistic part of any fucking high school movie. Meanwhile, the therapist, she calls Donnie's house to try to speak to his parents. You would think that she would already know that they're going to be out of town, but whatever. Yeah, not the best therapist at keeping in touch with the parents.
I was just say there needs to be some better communication. It's kind of important that the parents and the therapist have good communication in this situation.
For sure.
She's working with their kids' like brain, so
yeah. I mean, my dad had my theater teacher's cell phone number, like for after school stuff if something came up. So it's like, why is there no community? But anyways, yeah. So Gretchen shows up at Donnie's. They make out, and then we hear Donnie's mom calls, and she leaves a voicemail on the phone. And saying, you know, we'll be back at the house by 8:30. Everything went great. So they're going to be there. And then we get another caption that says 6 hours left. And we see a fridge sign that reads, Frank was here, went to get beer.
Love that.
So good.
It's so perfect. It's awesome.
Yeah. Obviously that freaks out Donnie, right?
I think his spear led him to it as well.
Yeah.
His thing, his worm, his like human wormhole thing.
His human wormhole thing, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't like that word for it, but yeah.
Wormhole. I think it's the whole part that makes it bad.
Yeah. I don't like it. Anyways.
Anywho. Put a hole behind anything and it definitely changes the word, doesn't it?
Oh, jeez.
Flowers for your butthole.
That's right. Flowers for your butthole.
Oh my gosh, thank you. Donnie sees a portal open up and time is running out. Donnie, Gretchen, and his friends, they decide they're going to go see Grandma Death.
Which, by the way, one of them is dressed like Hulk Hogan, and I think that is freaking awesome.
Oh my
is that
gosh.
what they were dressed up
Yeah,
as? That's
Hulk
great.
Hogan was awesome.
Yep.
Debatable. Anyways, they end up at Grandma Death's house, and they're like, how do we get in? And it's like, cellar door. So that's why I had that written down in plot points.
Oh, we're getting more connections here.
Things are happening. Yeah. And they're looking around, but for some fucking reason, and this really bothers the shit out of me, the bullies from earlier, so you've got Seth Rogen and the other idiot, they were just waiting there inside the fucking cellar for them. It makes no sense. Why?
I don't think they were waiting for them. I think they were trying to rob the place.
Oh, okay. That makes sense. Okay.
And they did mention that kids used to try to rob her all the time because she actually had money and she had a crazy gemstone collection apparently. And you know, kids in gemstone collections, like, I know what I'm doing on a Saturday
need more
night.
crystals. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense. but I don't think they're smart enough to have, I don't know. It's whatever.
Well, they were
Anyways.
conveniently there looking for
At
trouble.
the same time, yeah, looking for trouble. Exactly. They really were. And unfortunately, they do what bullies do, and they attack Gretchen and Donnie. And we see Grandma Death. She's in the middle of the road in the middle of the night, and we see a car headed towards her, and the car sees Grandma Death. It swerves, and unfortunately, it hits Gretchen, and just she's dead.
Yeah. That's a brutal moment. It just totally rolls over her, like completely too.
Completely hits her torso and everything. And Donnie's being held down on the ground, and he literally can't do anything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just heartbreaking.
Yeah, it is.
And we see Frank, right? He appears and he takes off his mask, and it's the kid we saw from earlier, actual Frank.
Yes.
And his eyes normal and everything, and this is just a normal kid, and Donnie sees him, and he's just enraged because Gretchen is dead. He shoots him, and he kills Frank.
Yes.
Yeah, and he shoots him in
the eye.
In the eye.
Yeah. And it's like, at this point, it's like, holy shit, what's happening?
Which
right?
I love the kid who plays Frank.
Oh, he was great.
I love him.
I feel like I've seen him.
Yeah, he's been in other things.
He's in a lot of things.
Yeah.
Yeah. But he's dating Elizabeth, right? Donnie's sister, right?
Are they dating? I know they know each other. I think they know each other.
I think they're at least friends.
Because she mentions him. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I always got the vibe that they were dating, because I feel like when we saw her earlier get dropped at the house just before the engine fell, I thought it was his car and everything. So
it could have been.
Yeah, maybe I'm just wanting to see extra things there, but I was like, that'd be cool.
Yeah, perhaps they were burning some chicken. That's fine.
They do know each other, because she mentions him and says, like, where's Frank? Or, Frank's getting beer. Or she mentions his name at the party. Like, they definitely know each other.
Yeah, they're at least friends. But anyways, Grandma Death tells Donnie, a storm is coming. You must hurry.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And so Donnie carries Gretchen's body back to town. It's the next day by this point. He takes the car keys from his sister, who's still passed out, probably hung over on the couch. And he drives to a hillside that they used to picnic at. And he just sits on top of the car with Gretchen's body still in the car. And he's just sobbing, right? And there's a lot of stuff that happens, so bear with me. We see Donnie's mom and Samantha. They're in their plane, and it seems to be hitting some turbulence, but it's not normal turbulence or whatever. And then we see something fall from the sky.
Yeah.
And we hear Donnie read the letter he wrote to Grandma Death out loud. And we're not really sure what's going on at this point. We see Donnie. He's in bed in his room, and he rolls over and he's laughing to himself, and then he goes to sleep. And we see the airplane engine falls into his room and he dies.
Yep.
And we see Frank, the actual teenager Frank. He's drawn pictures of the rabbit mask, and we learn he made the mask of the bunny or whatever. He made it in his own costume, and he's staring at the picture of the drawing or whatever, and he's rubbing the same eye that gets shot later. Yeah, which I loved, that attention to detail. And we see the paramedics. They're taking Donnie's body away. We see Gretchen is alive. They never met. And then she waves to Donnie's mom in the front yard, and she's sobbing, and then she just waves back.
That whole sequence is crazy, because you see you go
everybody.
Through all these people, and Mad World is playing over this too.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a really emotional song as it is.
Yeah.
The dreams in which I'm dying are the best I ever had. And it's everybody waking up in this moment as though somehow everybody felt it. You know what I mean? You know, you see Kitty, you see Jim Cunningham, you see everybody. And then, yeah, just that little moment that Rose and Gretchen have when they make eye contact and they kind of wave really hits you too. But yeah, that whole sequence is so cool.
Yeah. It's like the impact of Donnie and what he could have done. And also like the people that are going to miss him and may have like really had love there for him, but like now they'll never know him in that way. And it's really heartbreaking.
Yeah, and I mean Donnie made like basically like ultimate sacrifice, right? So he was the living receiver. You know, you get these little clues into what's happening from the pages of the book.
Mhm.
So he's the living receiver, and he sees his path, you know, that he dodged, but he chooses to like take that destiny and to save Gretchen, to save, you know, other people. So it's a pretty big moment, and it's also pretty cool because I was thinking about it watching it this time. There's a moment when Gretchen meets him and she says something like, Donnie Darko, what kind of name is that? Like, are you a superhero or something? And he says, how do you know I'm not? Well, he
Yeah.
was.
He was.
He was this living receiver, and he did actually save, I mean, maybe the world and at least the lives of other people. Frank, Gretchen.
Yeah. Definitely. Oh, what a good movie. All right, let's do fun facts.
Okay, so there was a lot of info. I tried to like keep it down to some good ones. So at the wrap party for this movie, after it first came out, both Jake Gyllenhaal and Seth Rogen admitted that they had no idea what it was about, which I thought was fun.
Yeah.
They're like, I don't know what it was about.
Yeah, that checks.
Yeah. Jake Gyllenhaal rarely blinked in the kind of Frank-driven scenes. That moment where he's looking at Frank and all of that stuff. That's the technique that he tried to use. He tried to just not blink very much to kind of give it that feel, which I thought was cool.
Yeah.
Sam Raimi let them distort Evil Dead like that for free, totally free of charge. He actually kind of came in and saved the day. Yeah, he came in and saved the day for them because they originally wanted to use another movie. And I think I read that it was Critters, but I forgot to write it down, but it was another movie, but they couldn't afford to like purchase the rights to it, to actually alter it like they do. Yeah, Sam Raimi was like, absolutely, do it for free because I believe. And I'm like,
that's so cool.
Solid, as if we already didn't love that guy, right? And it's like, okay.
Oh, if I ever meet him now, I'm gonna talk about that.
Yeah, I've never heard that, and I thought that was so cool.
Really
filming took 28 days, which is the same amount of time, the same duration of time that we have in the movie.
That's amazing.
That's great.
Which is pretty damn cool. So I won't call them wormholes. I just said it. The spear things, the thing that comes out of them. The director came up with that idea while he was watching. He was high and he was watching. It's called a telestrator or something, and it basically takes like football players. It slows it down and it shows you like where they're gonna move.
Oh, that's so cool.
So, yeah, so he was watching that and he was high and he was like, oh, well, that's kind of a cool thing. So it's extra fun that he first notices it while they're all watching a football game.
Oh, my God.
Okay.
That's so fun.
So that's where that came from.
Wow.
Apparently, and I did not have time to look up the whole story for this, but apparently this movie there were concerns that it might have been a straight to video release or a straight to like one of a station or whatever.
Yeah.
Apparently Drew Barrymore's production company kind of saved the day a little bit on that, and apparently Christopher Nolan had something to do with saving it and helping it get a theatrical release.
Okay.
So I have to like delve deeper into that story, but like imagine if this movie was like a straight to video movie. Like how weird is that?
That would be an injustice for sure.
Absolutely. Again, this was Seth Rogen's debut. His first, film line was "I like your boobs," so that's his first film line in history.
Telling for the rest of his career.
Now, apparently, and this one I thought was crazy. Apparently, Vince Vaughn, Mark Wahlberg, and Jason Schwartzman were all considered for the role of Donnie. I know Jason Schwartzman had some kind of like scheduling conflict, and I forget the other reasons, but can you imagine like Vince Vaughn or Mark Wahlberg?
No.
And I love Jason Schwartzman, but I just think Jake Gyllenhaal was the perfect person.
He was perfect. Absolutely perfect. Yeah.
So it's crazy to imagine any of those people in that role, especially like Mark Wahlberg. I just can't see it.
No.
Anyway. Okay. The fat man in the red suit that we see pop up a couple times, like when they were first going to kiss, and she's like, I want it to be special. Also, there's a fat guy watching us right now. Apparently, he was a FAA agent. And so that's why you see him kind of pop up a couple times, because the FAA was trying to figure out what happened with the plane part crashing. And so you see him pop up in a couple scenes because apparently he was just kind of checking out the family, checking things out, trying to figure things out. That's so clever. So just like a little detail there. Yeah. This was the final film of the actress who played Grandma Death. This was her last movie.
I believe it.
Jake was 19 years old when he did this movie, playing a 16-year-old. And Drew Barrymore was, even though she played the teacher, I think she was just like 6 years older than him when this came out. That's what I read.
Yeah.
Let's see. Okay, this was fun too. So in the scene where Donnie is explaining to Gretchen that in his past he burned down a house, and got in trouble for it. Yeah. They are actually standing right in front of Jim Cunningham's house when they say that.
I never noticed that before. Yeah. Wow.
I didn't either, but So there's a little bit more attention to detail there. Now for the director's cut, because I think we all watched the director's cut. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So the director's cut doesn't alter the story in any way. It basically adds 20 minutes of new footage, and some of the other things that it did, it gave you a little bit more story and lore. So the theatrical release had a little bit more mystery about like the time travel. This director's cut really implemented a lot of the pages from the book to kind of explain what was going on. The placebo pills, that was also not in the theatrical release. So that little bit of info there, which is interesting. Some moments with Donnie's eyes, like the pupil getting all big and stuff. Some of that was at least elaborated upon in this. Some other like little kind of, whatever scenes, there's the waves crashing kind of at the end when we have the fireworks and we're seeing all these images. So that's about all of the director's cut stuff.
I'm glad I watched that version then. Yeah.
Me too. It seems like it just gives you a little bit more information about the story, how time travel works. You get more of those details about, you have to really watch, but like about Donnie being the living receiver. There's a whole thing about him like having to return this object, basically. The object is the propeller. So you didn't really get that in the theatrical version.
Yeah. No, that was really good. Facts. Love it. Awesome. Let's get into rating this movie, shall we?
Let's.
All right. Jamie, you want to start?
Sure. Okay. So I love this movie. Like I said, I watched it when I was a teenager and I was really getting into my film journey. You know what I mean? So this movie was definitely a part of that journey. There's lines in this movie that like my friends and I quote to each other still, and have done for ages. Watching it again, like I said earlier, watching it this time, it's been a little bit. It definitely like hit me in a different way, but that's because I think I've lived more life, I'm in a different place in life. So there's certain elements of it that just hit in a more of an emotional chord with me this time around. I think this movie's brilliant. It's beautifully shot. The actors are phenomenal in it. I mean, Jake Gyllenhaal is like a force in this movie, crazy good. The writing is amazing. I really like the way that things come together. And it still leaves a little bit of room for you to interpret stuff, but I like the little pieces that you get, and when your brain starts to kind of connect them all together, you're like, oh, what? All that being said, it's pretty close to being a 10 for me. I'm going to give it a 9 because it's not like, it might not be the first movie I'd go for or anything. It might even be a 9.5, but I'll give it a 9. It's a great movie. If you haven't seen it, definitely watch it. Not necessarily horror, but really, really good.
Yeah. Ethan?
Okay. I also really like this movie. I think the cast did a great job. The exception of Maggie, because I just am not a fan of her. But anyway, it is what it is there, girls. This movie is more than just, sit down, throw it on, and just you do have to pay a little attention because of everything that's happening. And although most of the time I like to just sit there and go, oh, look, his head got cut off. Oh, look, they're pulling his guts out. That's my type of, campy, This movie I do really like. If you have not seen it, I think you should definitely see it. Watch the director's cut. I won't give it quite as high a grade as you, but I will give it an 8.
Yes,
Okay.
awesome. That's still a good score.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I really like this movie. Like I said, I'd only seen this movie once before, and it was many, many years ago. And like you said, Jamie, it hit differently this time. It's a very quotable movie. I don't know if I want to rewatch it again. And not to say I won't ever watch it again, because I definitely will. But I don't know if I want to rewatch it and lose, I don't want to memorize things about it. I don't want to see certain things. I want the mystique and the magic of it, I guess you'd say, to kind of still be there each time I revisit it. I'm sure other people feel differently. They may love to rewatch this movie over and over again. For me, it's not like that. It's a very special movie, and it deserves to be savored. With that being said, I'm going to give it, it's so close to a 10, but I'm going to say like a 9.5. Yeah, it's so good, but it's a movie that you're not going to put on just any old time you want to throw something on in the background, at least for me.
Same,
and it's just such a good movie. It's definitely a movie that you have to watch at least once in your life. And it's so good. So good.
Yeah, and I can't help but think that next time, I will probably be watching it a little bit closer to the actual pages of the book, and trying to follow a little bit more of the lore even more closely, because I thought all that stuff was really interesting, but it's very heady. It's hard to take in as you're watching the movie. So if next time I watch it, I will probably be watching it a little bit closer with what I know already from seeing it, to try to pick up on some other things and maybe pay a little bit more attention to the pages of the book and how the time travel elements actually work, because it's pretty interesting from what I kind of gathered and paid attention to this time around. It is pretty interesting.
It is interesting, and it's nice to see a movie do something new with time travel that's not like the typical kind of cheesy stuff that you normally see.
Yeah. It's an interesting take on it.
Yeah, very fun. Very Final Destination-esque, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Lots of fun. All right, guys. If you like Donnie Darko, if you don't, let us know in the comments, and let us know why, because we'd love to hear from you. And just remember, if you ever find yourself in a horror movie, don't have sex.
Don't do drugs, especially placebo pills.
And certainly, don't die. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.